Welcome to another episode of Svend-Tech Investing, bringing you free education to keep you informed as an investor. Today's video is going to be about YieldNodes company. It is a real 9% approximate return per month on the money you invest. And yes, it is a real company, it's not a scam. Just a quick disclaimer. The general information in the site is for educational purposes only. If you are going to invest, you need to look into obtaining specific legal, tax, and investment advice from a licensed professional. Now, on with the show. Today we're going to go over YieldNodes and how it works exactly. And is it a good investment? It appears to be. I've got some money in it now, and it is looking really good. 9% a month is a great investment. If you consider that is about doubling your money in a year plus paying taxes on that money, that is great compared to your 401k, which only gets about 25% per year. So let's take a deeper dive into this. Okay, now before we get too deep into YieldNodes, let's go over how people make money with crypto in general. You can buy and hold, investing your money in a crypto coin, hoping its value versus the US dollar goes up. There's mining, where you have specialized computer equipment that generates the long encryption keys that are used for each transaction in a coin. There's staking, where your money will sit on a certain computer and you get a certain little percent per day to help that coin along. And there's masternoding, which is kind of like being the bank for a certain crypto, where that masternode runs software that will verify the blocks and help out making quick transactions. And for running that software and keeping a certain chunk of money sitting on that computer to qualify it as a masternode, you'll make a certain amount of money a day off of that. YieldNodes is a simple-to-use masternoding and staking site where they invest your capital in a pool of approximately 12 to 15 crypto projects that they're currently working on. A new user would create a login on their website, fill out the KYC verification paperwork, uploading your couple credentials to prove that you're a real person. Then you would send Bitcoin into that account. Once that Bitcoin's posted, they convert it in the background into masternode coins to start making you 9% per month. They take out 1.5% of that profit per month to pay for their cloud servers and their IT support time to keep these servers running. Any money invested initially needs to stay invested for 6 months, which is the length of their computer leases. At the end of a month, each month, there's a setting to either pull out the profits and let it sit there in the account so you can withdraw it, or you set a percentage number of how much of that profit earnings to put back in and compound for the next month's earnings. Any money added back in the pool will need to stay invested for a full 6 months. So how do you get money into YieldNodes, into this account? First off, you take your money from your bank and put it into your wallet or your crypto broker, someplace like Coinbase. So it takes a week or so, and you have to go put in the KYC information with them and get all signed up with a wallet place. And you transfer your normal money into that account, into your account with that company. And there's pull-down boxes in there, settings to convert that USD into Bitcoin. And that transfer into Bitcoin costs about 4% of that money for them to do that transfer. After you get it converted to Bitcoin, you can click a button to send that somewhere, and they'll give you a spot to enter for your Bitcoin address to send that money to. So in the YieldNodes account, there's a spot to generate a receive Bitcoin address, which is a long string of numbers and letters. You'll hit a copy button next to that copies that address to the clipboard, and go back over to your Coinbase account and paste that in the spot where it says to send money. And it may take up to a week or two to get that moved over. One, because Coinbase has to verify the transaction, which may take a week, and YieldNodes, once it posts, they take a week or two to verify that it's in the account right. So there's a certain amount of time involved in getting money transferred using Bitcoin. It's not immediate. Once it's transferred into your account, you allocate it for how much you want it to be master noding or just sitting there in the account. And then for what you've allocated to be used for master noding, you'll get on average about 9% profits on that each month. You'll see it that each week there's like 1.2% this week, and then that compounds, and then it's 1.1% the next week, and that compounds. And then by the end of the month, you'll have 9% profit for that block of money you have invested. And what do you do with that money? You either have a slide bar setting where you tell it to reinvest 100% of that back in, or you invest a percentage of it back in the compound, and you have the rest of it sitting out ready for you to withdraw, where you can send it back to Coinbase as Bitcoin, or they have a different coin that they're supporting right now called Sapphire. You can export it as Sapphire. But you have to go back to get it back to money you can use. You have to send it back to your wallet account as Bitcoin, convert it to US dollars, and then withdraw it back out to your bank. Your invested profits will show up in the dashboard as euros. At the end of the month, you have X amount of euros that are now available in your account. So as a USA investor, you would need to convert the euros back to dollars to see really how much dollars you've made for the month. So you either search in Google or other methods. You can just type in like 500 euros to USD, and it'll respond back. It's this much USD. You set the amount of the reinvestment of the profits of the slider. Recommend you keep out a percentage of your monthly profits to pay for your local income taxes, which 22% of your profits each month. So it'd be best to pull out a certain percent to pay your taxes, depending on what tax rate and what country you're in. So inside of Coinbase, to get money into Coinbase, which will be your main wallet, you go in, just log in with all your information, go into the buy and sell option, and you buy a one-time purchase of Bitcoin, and you can pick the amount. And when it does this, it will charge about a 4% fee for getting that money and converting it to Bitcoin. Now, on your taxes, you can show that when you keep up with all the transaction steps and everything and give it to your tax person at the end of the year, there is some information there that is useful, because that 4% is actually capital gains losses, and you'll get a slight deduction, get some money back off of that. When you sell Bitcoin in your account, it pretty much converts it to US dollar cash sitting in your account. Then you have to do extra steps in Coinbase to get it out to your bank account. There's also a convert tab where you can convert from one coin to another, or one coin to cash. Be aware that you really want to be working in Bitcoin and not Bitcoin Cash coin. When you click on the Send Receive button, which is what you use to transfer the Bitcoin to other wallets, there's options in here. There'll be an amount here of Bitcoin you have, the equivalent amount in US dollars. You can either transfer it to an email address or a mobile number, But to send money out of your Coinbase account, you'd hit send receive, pick the amount of money that you're wanting to send, and put in your Bitcoin address, which is the address it's going to in the YieldNodes. You'd have to hit generate the link in YieldNodes, copy that address, then come back here and paste out of the clipboard and make sure it has all the numbers in it. Now this will be different every time that you go and try to transfer money somewhere. And you have to make sure it's Bitcoin and not Bitcoin Cash. And then got the to address, and you can leave a note in here to kind of go along with that send, since I say it's for my YieldNodes account to help keep up with it. And I hit continue, and it will send that money out. On the receive side, you will copy your wallet address where money can be sent to. Don't use this number. It'll be whatever is in your account. In YieldNodes, when you do a withdrawal, you put in your address and it will transfer it out into your wallet. Now let's take a look inside of a YieldNode account. So inside of this YieldNode account, they have a main dashboard where it shows you how much money is currently being masternoded, its current ROI over several months of what you've made profit-wise, and a detailed report about the income. And if I go into the detailed reports, it shows how much I've invested. When you invest money and it's not at the very beginning of the month, it only gives you a partial return for that month because it's only been in a week. And as you can see here, it's been getting pretty good profits per month. And I've invested several times in here, building up this account. And last month was a good month. I've got 10.6% returns. And you can download PDFs of each month's values. To get into the deposit side of things, in here they have a couple different ways of getting money into this account. Walleties, Coinify, but I just use directly transferring with a Bitcoin address and don't go through these third-party companies. So you enter the approximate amount that you're going to transfer in, which is optional because it'll look at the value after they took out the little $2 fees to get it transferred over there and other things. But you hit generate Bitcoin address and it'll give you the long key number. And the best way of working with these key numbers is to hit copy, which will copy it to your clipboard, and go over to your Coinbase and do a Control V to paste the value. That way you don't miss a character at the end and lose your money out in nowhere land. So once you deposit money into here, it takes it a week or two. Bitcoin has to approve the transfer. It takes about a week. And once it gets in the YieldNodes, it takes them a week or two to process it and make sure it's in the account properly before they'll start masternoding it. On the withdrawal side of things, if you need your money out, like an emergency situation, quicker than your 6-month noting contract, you can hit emergency withdrawal. You can transfer out as Bitcoin and type in the amount in euros that you want to transfer out. Over here is the compounding slider. We can adjust how much of the profits for the month get either added back into compound or it will sit there and be eligible for transferring out. There's also affiliate links where you can get, as an affiliate, a tiny percentage of other people's first investment into YieldNodes. There's KYC documents where you need to upload a picture of the latest driver's license, a copy of some paperwork that has your home address on it. It's just standard documentation. If they're going to hold your money, they need to know you're a real person. And they have audits that come along where they have third-party people come in and verify everything's being handled correctly. And overall, this is a pretty cool site. Also, I wanted to mention on the withdrawals that you have to have your request for withdrawal before the 15th of the month, and it'll be exactly a month from that date before they'll process it and get all the servers ready to pull that money out. So don't think that you can just go in here and click and then have the money back out of here. They have a month delay, and that's for your safety, to make sure that nobody hacked your account and is going to drain it in like one day. You'll get emails, tons of emails whenever you log into the site and log out, and it's a good thing. Okay, let's run through their site real quick. So on the main site, without being logged in, you can learn a lot about their system, about how much it generated recently, average over the last 22 months, 11% per month. Now, minimum deposit to start an account is $500 euro, which realistically you need to convert that to US dollars if you're in the USA, which will be about $590. Plus, you're going to have to account for the 4% for the transfer loss of going from dollars to Bitcoin. So really, your minimum to invest is going to be around $630. And then there's a little graph showing how much if you compound with them, how much it can increase, and it's great. Here's some of the guys that are running it in the background. These are pictures from a couple years ago. There's Urs, the programmer, Steve, CEO. Here's a couple of the coin projects that they're working on. They have about 15 projects going on, and several partners they work with. There's a good facts section. If you have questions, you can click through the facts. They will also email a response, but it's best to read through the facts section first. So I want to make one last note about where YieldNodes is actually located. The servers that they rent are located in Germany, and they're using hydroelectricity to power them, so it's not using a lot of fossil fuels and things like that, so that's a good thing. And I believe now that Exceptional Media Limited is the name of their company, they've moved the headquarters for where their site's based out of to Hong Kong. There's probably some tax advantages to move it there. So is 9% a month a good investment? It's great. Let's go for compounding for a second and show you what kind of values, what kind of dollar amounts you can get with 9% a month. So if I invested, say, I could say, talk about this as dollars or euros, it's just percentage number difference, but if I say I invested $2,000 into the account and I get 9% after the first month, I'd make $180. So if I set aside, that is profit income, which is really taxable income because it didn't exist before. So I need to set that aside a certain percent, maybe 22%, depends on your local taxes. And you got Bitcoin to US dollar transfer fees. So if I just say for this month, I'm going to set aside 25% of that profit to pay for taxes. And then the rest of it, I'm going to reinvest back in and compound that so it'll keep this additional that I'm reinvesting will grow at the 9%. So next month I make $192 and I pull out some money for taxes and I reinvest. And this will grow and grow each month. And it grows pretty quick. So at the end of the first year, from starting with 2,000, I now have 4,379, which I've more than doubled my money that I invested. Plus, I pulled out and paid off taxes on it. So, on the tax issue, you'll have to keep up for your records that any transactions from Bitcoin to something else and of your transfer fees for losses for capital gains. So any new money you get is straight up income or masternoding income, and you'll have to figure out how the tax laws are for the year, how to report that. But there's only 12 entries for the year on your taxes to manage that part of it. Now the transfer fees out, when you convert from one coin to another, there's a capital gains tax entry where you'll have a slight loss because of the 4%, which is a deduction because that's part of how Bitcoin is treated as property in the tax laws. So as it goes up or down, as you transfer it to something else, you'll have to pay the difference of the amount from where you started to where you're ending. So as long as you keep up with all the entries and the value of everything in an Excel table and give it your tax people at the end of the year, you should be all set. But make sure you report the money you've made on your taxes. Don't just ignore it and then get hit with fines at some point when you try to transfer money out. So why is this great? You started out here and you more than doubled your money in a year. And you didn't have to do anything, you didn't have to work for it. Now, no, you didn't pull any money out other than to pay for taxes. But as long as you've got a good job, this can be a good retirement fund to go along with and supplement your 401k or whatever you've got going on. So after just the small investment, after 2 years, you're going to have $9,590 sitting there making you money, which is wonderful. At some point you can cut this compounding number down a little bit and hold out more money, but it's not going to grow this quick if you start pulling money off of it. So you may decide to let this build up for like 4 to 5 years till you can have the equivalent of the salary you have now, and then pull out that full amount each month and having a secondary source of income that's passive. But there's lots of different ways of looking at the numbers. That's part of accounting. But it's a great opportunity. And it's not like trading where, oh, I made money this month, oh, I'm losing money this month. They kind of go over on their site, as long as there's not a big market crash, that they will definitely make 5% a month because they'll pull the money out of these master nodes if the economy's not doing well and shut down everything, and you won't have a loss. So let me pause that. On the tax side of things, there are a couple sites out there that have a free intro trial where you can pay a little bit a year, kind of like an Excel file where you can enter all your crypto transactions for the year and then print out a nice form to take to your tax person. One site here is Cryptotrader Tax, and it looks like a pretty good site. The only problem is that the value in YieldNodes is in euros as a summary of how much you made for the month, but in here it wants to know the coin and what time of day and the exact value to be able to enter the entries in the table. So for the US taxes, they want to know the equivalent value of that certain coin in US dollars, so they compare dollars to dollars. So really you have to find the average price on that day of that euro value in the YieldNodes account. And there's a couple other sites I'll show here in a second to do that. But then you'd enter that equivalent US dollar amount in your table to show that you made this much equivalent dollars on that day that you have to pay taxes on. Okay, something else I want to go over is a lot of these conversions is date specific. If you need to convert from Euro to USD for your taxes and figure out what it was on that specific month, you can go to a couple random sites on the internet. Here's one, markets.businessinsider.com/currency-converter. Put that in, save this link on your desktop, wherever. You can go in and transfer a certain amount, see its value, like if you made $100,000 in profit here in euros and convert it over to USD, and we'll see what that amount is. But depending on the general rate for that day of whatever month you're trying to get the number for the first of the month when YieldNodes deposited it, you can go back and figure out for your taxes how much US dollars that really was to put down the amount that you owe taxes on at that point in time. And that does change month to month as the spot price of the euro versus US dollar changes. Now, YieldNodes uses the general daily price for the exchange rate for the euro value, and not the inter-minute and or hour price. So there are other sites that say you pick a date plus the hour that transfer occurred, but YieldNodes is using the general spot price for that day. So it's something to be aware of if your numbers are a little bit off or look a little funny between sites. So basically I've given you a lot of information about YieldNodes, and hopefully you found this useful. If you've enjoyed this video and want to see more, please like and consider donating a little bit of money to support me making more videos and bring more great content to you. Goodbye for now. Thank you.